I was just taking a walk in the forest. I wasn't looking for anything special, but what I found that day changed everything. 6 eggs, alone in the cold, abandoned. And I had no idea what was inside. It was a freezing morning in late November, the kind of morning where your breath turns to mist and the forest is completely silent. I was walking off the trail when I saw them, half hidden under a pile of leaves. 6 eggs, different sizes, different colours. One was bright yellow, one was orange with a faint glow, one was blue, one was green, one was cream-coloured with little spikes, and the last one was pure white, with a small red triangle. They were cold, dangerously cold. I looked around. No nest, no mother, nothing. I didn't think twice. I took off my jacket, wrapped them carefully, and brought them home. I had no idea what I was doing. I set up a heating lamp in the living room. I kept the temperature at exactly 28 degrees. I checked on them every hour through the night. By day 3, one of them started to move, just a tiny crack at first, then another. Then all 6 were cracking at the same time. I grabbed my camera, and then a tiny yellow paw punched through the shell. Pikachu. Then a little blue turtle blinked up at me. Squirtle. Then a green lizard with a tiny bulb on its back stretched its arms. Bulbasaur. Then an orange lizard with a flame flickering at the tip of its tail. Charmander. Then a cream-coloured fox with multiple tiny tails yawning. Eevee. And finally, a small round Pokémon with a little egg still on its head, looking absolutely confused about everything. Togepi. I sat on the floor surrounded by 6 baby Pokémon, and I had absolutely no idea what to do next. The first week was a lot. Pikachu discovered the power outlets on day 2, every single one in the house. I had no electricity for 3 days. Charmander found the curtains, and the couch, and my favourite jacket, all gone. Squirtle thought the bathroom was a personal water park, flooded the entire ground floor on day 4. Bulbasaur was growing vines overnight. I woke up one morning completely wrapped in leaves. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 hours. Eevee was actually fine, until she discovered mirrors. Then she spent 6 hours attacking her own reflection and knocked over everything in the bedroom. And Togepi? Togepi just watched all of this chaos with the most innocent expression on its face. Completely unbothered. Possibly responsible for more than I realised. I loved every second of it. But I knew this couldn't continue. They needed real space, real environments, a real home. I spent 2 weeks researching and building. For Pikachu, a high-voltage safe enclosure with wooden logs, climbing structures, and a dedicated power station where he could discharge safely without destroying the house. For Charmander, a heat-regulated vivarium with volcanic rocks, lava sand, and a fireproof glass barrier. Temperature, 45 degrees. He was in heaven. For Squirtle, a semi-aquatic habitat with a deep pool, river rocks, and a basking platform. He immediately started doing laps and refused to come out for 2 days straight. For Bulbasaur, a greenhouse setup with rich soil, tropical plants, and UV lighting to fuel that mysterious plant on his back. The vines doubled in size within a week. For Eevee, a cosy multi-environment den with soft terrain, wooden tunnels and a mirror in a contained section where she could fight herself safely. And for Togepi, a soft, padded nest surrounded by warmth and light. Because Togepi doesn't need much. Togepi just needs to be happy. And somehow, when Togepi is happy, everyone else seems calmer too. They each had their space. They each had their environment. For a moment, everything was perfect. 3 months passed, and I started to notice something. They were growing. Fast. Charmander's flame was getting bigger. Bulbasaur's vines were pushing against the glass. Squirtle had outgrown his pool twice. And Pikachu had started charging through walls. The vivariums weren't enough anymore. They needed something bigger, something real. So I made a decision. I was going to build them a sanctuary. I have a large garden behind the house, and I spent the next 6 weeks transforming it completely. The day I opened the garden gate, and watched all 6 of them step outside for the first time. That was the moment I knew. This was exactly right. 6 zones, each one built for one of them. A forest zone with tall trees and thick undergrowth for Bulbasaur, where he could spread his vines freely and merge with the ecosystem. A volcanic zone with heated rocks and an open flame pit for Charmander, surrounded by fireproof barriers where he could finally breathe fully. A river zone with a natural flowing stream and deep swimming areas for Squirtle, with underwater caves he discovered immediately and refuses to share. An open field zone with wooden obstacles and a dedicated lightning rod for Pikachu, where he could run and charge without limit. A diverse terrain zone for Eevee, forests, snow patches, water features, and rocky areas, because Eevee needs options. And in the centre of it all, a soft, sunlit meadow for Togepi. Everything was peaceful for weeks, until one night, something changed. I was asleep when I heard Togepi cry out, a sound I'd never heard before, high-pitched, desperate, afraid. I ran outside. 3 large shadow figures were moving through the garden. Dark Pokémon, wild, aggressive, moving toward the sanctuary with clear intent. For a moment none of my 6 moved. They were just babies. They had never faced anything like this. Then Pikachu stepped forward, and then Charmander, then Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Eevee, and Togepi walked right to the centre of the group, small, calm, glowing faintly. What happened next lasted less than 2 minutes, but I will never forget it as long as I live. Pikachu unleashed a thunderbolt that lit up the entire garden. Charmander breathed a wall of fire that stopped everything cold. Squirtle fired a pressurized water stream with surgical precision. Bulbasaur's vines erupted from the ground, locking the attackers in place. Eevee moved faster than I could track, cutting off every escape route. And Togepi released a wave of pure light that washed over everything and made the shadows retreat instantly. Complete silence. The attackers were gone. My 6 stood together in the middle of the garden, breathing hard but standing tall. They weren't babies anymore. I found 6 abandoned eggs in the cold. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they needed. I didn't know what we were building together. But now, Pikachu sleeps at the foot of my bed every night. Charmander lights the garden path when I come home late. Squirtle follows me to the kitchen every single morning. Bulbasaur has turned the entire back wall of the house into a living garden. Eevee has finally made peace with the mirror, and Togepi sits in the centre of the sanctuary every evening, and somehow every Pokémon finds their way to sit nearby. Some bonds you don't choose, they find you, in the cold, under a pile of leaves, on a November morning, when you weren't looking for anything at all.